Welcome to The Sarah Scoop Show. It's time to get the scoop with Sarah.
My name is Will Kemp, and I'm starring in Christmas Waltz on Hallmark Channel. Christmas Waltz is a Christmas movie full of dancing and romance and wonderful Christmas spirit. And in a nutshell, it is about a character played by Lacey Chabert who is planning a storybook wedding. And unfortunately, things don't go to plan. And the dance lessons that she has booked to learn to waltz with her fiance don't happen because her fiance doesn't show up for the wedding. But she keeps the lessons. And the wonderful thing about the movie is that it's a wonderful testament how things can turn out for the best if you keep pursuing them, trust yourself, and learn to take a step outside your comfort zone. Without ruining the plot, that's it. There is a lot of buzz. I actually did a very exclusive clip on my socials, which is fantastic, actually. And I haven't seen this clip too many times, and it's come out really, really well. And I think what's unique about this Hallmark Christmas film is that there is somewhat of a throwback to the MGM musicals, the classic sort of Singing in the Rain. There's a beautiful nod to all of that, and also the beauty of classic ballroom dancing, which I had to learn for this. I was a classically trained ballet dancer many years ago and had a very successful career as a dancer, but I'd never done ballroom. So for me, this was a wonderful opportunity to go back and to rekindle the passion and joy for dance, but also to learn a new technique in learning ballroom dance from a wonderful choreographer, Jean-Marc Jeanneret. So the minute that I read the script, what struck me, and whenever I'm approached to do anything dance related, I am slightly jaded, and I'm like, oh, okay, what's new about this? And the story feels familiar, but it has a very unique voice. And I took this as a real kind of opportunity to go back in and rekindle my love for dance. And playing a teacher is actually a wonderful thing because it makes you question what you can genuinely bring to the table. The minute that you have to teach or pass on any sort of knowledge, you really do have to question, what is it that I can bring to this unique student? So for me, it was a great chance to approach the character of Roman kind of as a mentor, as very like wise and calming. And it's very interesting to see him go through this journey of finding this partner. And it really is about a partner's trust. So whether that's your dance partner or your life partner or whatever it is, but through that, you both create the dance. So through that trust, you can create and enjoy something very special. So I've worked with Lacey before, and I absolutely love playing opposite her. She's incredibly grounded and is very real. And for me, that's important. What I loved about the journeys of characters is that her background, she's very much from a business side. She's a lawyer. So you've got Roman, who's creative and not very good and potentially about to lose his business or indeed not know how to expand. So I can relate to that. I'm terrible. I'm very creative, but not so great with the business. And what Lacey's character brings to the table is a proper business plan, which then enables, again, in partnership for Roman, my character, to then expand his studio and therefore be able to teach the kids from his neighborhood where his family are from. Absolutely. I have watched it. And over the years, I've actually been lucky enough to be in the audience as well. I have some friends that are judges. So I shot a pilot with Carrie-Anne Anaba. I'm good friends with Bruno. So I'm a big fan of the show, which has done phenomenally well. And to that note, I know there's a lot of interest for Lacey Chabert potentially, because what she achieved during this is really outstanding. And coming from a dance background, I really do take my hat off for a person to take on this script. She could have easily taken on any other Christmas film, but to choose to do this and to put herself through such rigorous training, I know there's a lot of interest in her potentially joining the show, and I would definitely champion that, and I would love to be a part of that in whatever way I could as well. It would be amazing. So you never know, we should start a campaign. I was in Spinning Out on Netflix with Johnny, and he's such an amazing character, such a beautiful man, and I thought he did really well. I thought the rehearsals were very different for us because Lacey was able to start gently while she was still in Los Angeles. I was in London in a lockdown, and then I flew out to Vancouver. We both flew out at the same time, but we had to quarantine. There's a mandatory 14-day quarantine. So I used that time very productively in getting in shape, both physically and mentally. And then basically straight out of that quarantine, Lacey and I got straight into a studio, and it was very strange because of the protocols which were in place. We had to wear masks, we had gloves, we had all these sort of plastic visors, and it was all, you know, constantly washing our hands. And then we got used to that, and we posted all sorts of hilarious pictures and things. But we really had, I would say, about 10 days of intensive rehearsals. And then we went straight into filming, and they decided to do all the dance in the first, I want to say, first week to 2 weeks. So it was a very intense period of time. There were lots of aches and pains, and Lacey broke her toe just before we started. So she did the whole thing with a broken toe. But she was a real trooper and pulled through. But it was very intense. But the finale, which is in the movie, is a great representation of the achievement that we accomplished, because it culminates in basically a live performance. And it really was, we did that last, and it was like a release of all the intense work that we had done up until that point. And it's actually captured beautifully, I think, in the film. There were similar things that I'd learned from the ballet world, but there's also a lot that I had to change. So I really appreciate that. And we had a great choreographer, Jean-Marc, and a great choreographic assistant as well. Crystal Lee was fantastic. And we worked hard. I think this is a very unique step for Hallmark, particularly. I don't think they've encouraged or seen something quite like this. And I have so many ideas for so many more things that I would like to do in this kind of vein. So fingers crossed we get the chance, because I hope that there's an audience for it out there. There's several. So I've only seen the film briefly once. I'm going to watch it again, of course, on the weekend, and it's a kind of gift to my family and friends, because at the moment there's restrictions in the UK, as I'm sure there is all over, that we might not be together for Christmas, and it's a tough time. So for me to be able to share this with everyone is kind of like a Christmas gift. But there is that particular scene that was shot on the street, which is a sort of homage or an ode back to sort of the MGM musical, Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire, singing in the rain, sort of thing. We shot that very late at night, and as happens on a shoot, you get to like the end of a day and there's not enough time, and it was shot so quickly. And when I arrived to that street, it's like 170 feet long. And we'd choreographed it pretty much, but I had to think on the spot. And a lot of it is sort of improvised or is inspired there and then. And it was a bit run and gun. The camera guys and I were working very hard to capture it. And it comes over, I think, brilliantly because of that. And due to that, it's one of my favorite scenes, because it comes out of my character explaining to Lacey's that you don't need to be perfect, and that she thinks that I have it all made I'm confident, that I don't doubt myself. And I explained to her, is she kidding? I doubt myself all the time. So I say, how about for this time of year, for this once, we take a holiday from all of that pressure and just live in the moment. And ironically, that's what we did. We shot that so quickly that everything just happened, and it's captured beautifully. I'm really proud of that whole sequence. I was absolutely thrilled to work with Lacey again, but it's interesting the way it came about. I was originally approached by Michael Damian, who's the director and also the writer, with his wife Janine. And it was sort of gently, because of COVID, they weren't sure when or if it was going to be possible. And so I sort of knew about it, I guess, back in, must have been June, July. So we kept in touch, and I really loved the script. And I, at that time, didn't even realize if it was going to be a Hallmark film or if it was going to be like one of their other high-strung projects. And then it was only towards the end that I had a Zoom call, and I was like explaining what I thought that I was capable of. And I was saying, partners are wonderful if they're a little bit smaller, because then you're able to lift and it's fine. And they then realized they hadn't told me. They said, "Oh, you do know that it's Lacey?" So I said, "No." I said, "Why didn't you tell me? You had me at Lacey Chabert. I would have just said absolutely right from the get-go." When Lacey saw a cut of the film, she said to me, "Do you know what? It feels very different," which is absolutely, I think, as it should be, because we're the same people, but we're playing different characters. And it's really, really wonderful to know that comes across, that there is a different flavor, isn't there, to this one? Began with a film that we shot in Romania. I did an audition here in London for the role Matchmaker, and it was to play opposite Bethany Joy Lenz. Incorporated a number of other English actors that were great. And so that was my first foray into Hallmark, playing a prince, and I had a great time on that. And it was a great part of the world to revisit as well. I enjoy the fact that this job allows me to travel. I really love that part of it. So whether it's Romania or Vancouver or Toronto or Los Angeles or Atlanta or wherever it is, that's a huge part of it. But no, so this is my third film with Hallmark, but it's the first Christmas film. So I'm thrilled to be a part of that countdown to Christmas family. I don't have any other Hallmark projects, definitely. I have read a couple of scripts that I really like, and I too have a number of ideas that I'm cultivating in scripts that I'm also creating myself. So I see many more movies in the future, hopefully, with this network. They're very loyal, and it really does feel like being part of a family, and they have a great stable of actors. So the chance to play opposite any of those would be wonderful. So I would love to be. I think that it's very natural. It's a natural progression, and I think certainly with Lacey and other people that I know, you begin to want to be more involved and to be a part of those creative choices and to find material that you know that you're going to thrive in. So I think generally, I think as an actor, you reach a certain age that you do want to be creating or certainly more involved in the work that you do. So I do enjoy very much working with Lacey. I do feel that we have a genuine kind of connection and a trust, which I think is very evident in Christmas Waltz. But I think it does go back to, there's so many great actors that are part of the Hallmark family that I feel still that I would be lucky to work with any, really. I guess that's not the answer that you're looking for, but yeah. So I mean, I think what the joy of it is that if you had enough projects, you could actually end up working with nearly everybody because you would be able to cast it beautifully. the CW was an absolute gift, and I had the best time playing Lord Darnley, the dastardly Darnley, as he's referred to often. That really was a real opportunity for me to be in 16 episodes of the final season and really craft out a really complex and amazing historical character. The joy kind of internally on that was that I had worked with 4 of the writers before separately. So when I joined the project, they immediately knew what I was capable of. And as the scripts came in, they would often come in very late. And so we would often have a table read, like even on the Saturday before we shot that next episode on the Monday. So a lot of surprises came up, and it was always a real joy because of the historical sort of juiciness of that character. It was always a surprise to see which parts of him they were going to be using next. And I think one of the big gifts that they gave that character was in the beginning, the love interest of Kira. To begin a sort of villain with a broken heart is wonderful, because we can all identify, we've all had something pulled away from us at some point. And I feel that that catapulted his sort of terrible actions, actually, but it was a wonderful way to justify as an actor, because he comes from a place of a broken heart. And if he's not allowed to have the one he loves, then that puts him into a turmoil of destructive behavior, which I loved. I loved playing that role. Thank you for everybody for your support, and I very much hope that you enjoy Christmas Waltz and everything and anything I do next.
Thank you for watching The Sarah Scoop Show. Head to sarahscoop.com for more.